everybody. Welcome to the City of Waterfalls. Yes, we are broadcasting live from Iligan City, especially from the Task Force Bangon Marawi headquarters. This is the first time Talakayan Salim Kitkay has left Cagayan de Oro, and this is brought to you with the Philippine Information Agency in partnership with, of course, Lim Kitkay Lux Hotel through the support of Parasat Cable TV. I'm Jerome De La Fuente. We are here also today with our friends from the media and the bloggers. By the way, this is seen also in Cagayan de Oro through Parasat Cable TV and the region-wide cable station and even worldwide to PIA's YouTube channel. It is obvious today our topic is here about the rehabilitation efforts in Marawi City. What are the developments? It's been 157 days since the surge of the Marawi crisis due to the terrorism, but recently our armed forces have pinned down the top terrorist leaders. Now we are liberated from them. The real work begins with the recovery and rehab. But before that, we'd like to also mention that we have a current head with us of the Task Force Bangon Marawi and Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Mr. Felix Castro. Welcome. Also joining us here are the representatives from the committees under the task force. We have from the Department of Trade and Industry, Lanao del Norte Provincial Director, Ruel Paclipan. Welcome. And of course, we have the Department of Public Works and Highways, Engineer Maria David. And from the Department of Social Welfare and Development, Region 10 Information Officer, and the Regional Grievance Officer of Marawi Disaster Operations, Jamila Taha. Welcome, and let's start the ball rolling. But before that, I'd like to know the newly appointed head of the Bangon Marawi, Felix Castro. From before you did this assignment or before you've been appointed, where were you before?
2 years ago, I retired from the Armed Forces of the Philippines. And so I've been unemployed for the past 2 years. And several days ago, I was asked to join the task force by the Secretary of HUDC, Secretary Del Rosario. So a few days ago also, I was appointed as Assistant Secretary by the President.
What do you do as the head of the Bangon Marawi Task Force, basically?
Basically, the function of the task force is to orchestrate and coordinate, integrate some of the programs of the different agencies under the task force. As per admin order number 3, which was issued by the President, Task Force Bangon Marawi was created, and under it are the secretaries of the different government agencies. And as far as Task Force Bangon Marawi office in Iligan is concerned, we deal with the regional directors of the different government agencies.
So you're basically the overseeing the whole operation.
Yes.
So
yes.
now with the other agencies, who are the agencies involved now?
Almost all. They have their own particular tasks. Primary, of course, is DSWD, DPWH, DTI. We have NHA, and other government agencies. Practically all government agencies are represented one way or another, and they have their own individual tasks for this.
What is the DPWH doing right now with regards to the Bangon Marawi or the DSW? What are your programs actually?
Yes, sir. I am representing the DSWD Region 10. So Region 10 rather. So for Northern Mindanao. So since day one of the Marawi siege, we've been operating. We've been tasked here to monitor and provide services to the IDPs. Now for the pagbabalik Marawi, the return of the IDPs to Marawi will still be the DSWD will provide several services for interventions like the provision of the financial assistance as promised before, and then of course the pabaon, we call it pabaon, is composed of food and non-food items like kitchen kits, hygiene kits, sleeping kits, and of course the food with one sack of rice and several ready-to-eat na foods.
Can you take us back to the time when the Marawi crisis started? What was the role when suddenly on the May 23, the president declares martial law because of the Marawi crisis? What have you done from the time you were tasked to go to Marawi and until today? Can you take us through that step?
Okay, sir. From the beginning of, since the siege, we have opened and managed several, in fact, we have, for Region 10, we're managing 34 evacuation centers. Now we are still hosting about, in 34 evacuation centers, we have 2,502 families who are still in the evacuation centers, while 52,097 IDP families in the respective relatives or home base. We call this home-based IDP. Sila po yung mga IDPs na nakitira sa kanilang mga relatives, friends, and opted not to stay in the evacuation center. So, since then po, ang ginagawa po ng DSWD, we manage the camp. We call this the camp coordination and camp management. So, all issues pertaining to the IDPs inside the evacuation centers, like the basic needs for food, health services, psychosocial services, we are coordinating with our partners, such as DOH and other humanitarian organizations. So that's one of the role of DSWD. Another one is to ensure the provision of food and non-food items. So since day one po, namimigay po kami ng relief assistance, basic food, rice, canned goods, noodles, coffee, for our IDPs consumption. So hanggang ngayon po, ginagawa pa rin po yan ng DSWD. And of course, another one na main role ng DSWD is to ensure the protection of the IDPs. Ito po particularly naka-align doon sa ating mga vulnerable sectors like the children, women, and the mga senior citizens. So one of the IDP protections we have ensured in these camps is the installation of women and friendly spaces. So lahat po ng ating mga camps ay may mga children's spaces where our children can freely do their activities. And of course, ang women natin, ina-assure natin na meron silang may mga spaces, privacy spaces na protected po sila. So that's the three major role ng ating DSWD in times ng disaster, specifically for this Marawi crisis po.
How do you keep the children busy? Because you see the adults can easily cry.
Yeah.
But the children, how are you addressing this? Because they don't show emotion. And this is what worries me a lot. Because there's no emotion when you look at them on TV or when you look at them personally. What are you doing about it?
Oh, so this is the expertise actually. We call this a expertise of the DOH, so ang in charge for provision of the psychosocial activities. So every day, our partners from DOH are visiting camps. They are providing several psychosocial activities that may include play therapy, where they ask children to draw, sing, dance. In fact, in my case, being the monitoring and the grievance officer for this operation for Region 10, we have seen the transformation of children inside camps. Like I can give a concrete example in Pantar, in our 10th city in Pantar, where before, for the first 2 to 3 months of the siege, walang naglalaro na bata talaga. Wala kang makikita outside or even sa camps na naglalaro. Yung mga bata, nasa ano lang sila, nasa respective spaces lang sila nakaupo or nasa kanilang mga parents. Pero sa level po namin, natuwa kami nung bandang 4 months na, going 4 months na nung end of mga August na banda na sa August, where ang mga bata na mismo nasa labas na, like doon sa 10 city namin, every afternoon, about 3 p.m., lumalabas na sila sa kanilang mga tents, naglalaro ng kung ano-ano, nagpe-play ng kites, sumasayaw, kumakanta, nakikipaghalubilo sa mga camp managers, even with the PNPs na naka-assign doon na nagbabantay sa camp. So nakikipagsalamuhan na sila. So I think on that part of transformation ng ating children from that crisis, of course, they don't deserve to be, no children that deserves to stay in evacuation centers or even be part of any conflict. So, yung transformation na from a very sad na crisis to that na medyo na-normalize na yung living condition nila, na naglalaro na sila, is already an accomplishment, is more than accomplishment for us. Of course, we thank the DDUH, who are the experts on this, in the provision of psychosocial activities, na sila po talaga yung nakatutok doon sa ating mga children in the camps.
You made them draw. What were the type of drawings that came about in this activity?
May transformation din po yung kanilang drawing. Like on the first stages ng psychosocial activities, some children draw medyo mga sad faces. Ang iba, merong mga nagdo-draw na gustong maging sundalo. Ang iba, in fact, merong case na nag-draw siya ng gusto niyang maging rebelde. So yung which hindi natin maintindihan kung anong naglalaro sa mind ng mga bata. Pero now that pinapadraw na sila, ano yung mga dreams nila, ano yung gusto nilang marating sa life nila. So sila yung sa proseso na binibigay ng mga activities na ito, pati yung natutulungan yung ating mga kabataan na ma-transform din yung mindset nila na there is more than parang hindi lang tayo magdedwell sa problema. May brighter pa na future with the help of everybody else, na especially the government. So I think we have seen naman, we have at some point, I can say we have succeeded on that part.
Once they leave the evacuation center, where do you lead them to now? So that's DPWH already? Or that
No, sir.
it's still your...
Still po ang the role of the SWD and of course the DOH. We are one cluster po under the social and welfare services. So partner po parati ang DSWD and in DOH, even sa ngayon na pag-return sa Marawi. So we will ensure po, kahapon po nandito po ang aming OIC Secretary, si Secretary Emmanuel Leico. He visited the transition shelters in Sagunsongan. So malaki rin po ang magiging role ng DSWD as a whole doon sa pagbabalik nila sa Marawi. Kasi po kailangan pong ituloy yung kung ano yung nasimulang binibigay na serbisyo po dito sa kung nasa camps, pati po doon sa pagbabalik nila sa Marawi. So whatever social services na pinoprovide po ng DSWD will continue kahit nandun na po sila sa Marawi City.
Well, I hope, because the children are the ones that really got hurt here. It's not the grown-up, because here you're destroying a city that has always been Marawi. And suddenly, I've seen Marawi when it's Marawi. Now I haven't seen it with the ruins, but I'm hoping to do some projects with the Marawi government to showcase what really transpired. And so people are educated that there are things that had happened and will happen. We just leave it to there. But all of us will have to do our share. Now, how about the DPWH? DTI. What have happened now that it's already on? Rehabilitation is ongoing. What is the role of DTI?
The role of the Department of Trade and Industry is defined in Administrative Order Number 3, which came out from the Office of the President. The Department of Trade and Industry Secretary being the chair of the subcommittee on business and livelihood. And the mandate of the subcommittee is for the immediate rehabilitation of business and to provide livelihood opportunities for the internally displaced people. But on top of that, the Department of Trade and Industry is also tasked pursuant to its regular mandate to make sure that the prices and supply of basic and prime commodities are at normal levels.
Okay, as we know, the Maranaos are traders. What programs have you done? Like, if you go to Limkit Kailax, we have what you call Joey Concepcion's project is Go Local. Okay, our project is Local Local. It's spelled with an L-O-K-A-L twice, and it's made in. It's okay. We have a project called Made in Cagayan de Oro, but now we're transforming it to Made in Mindanao. As we all know, Mindanao has always been pictured as the Wild Wild West. Now, I have been living in Mindanao for the last 2.5 years, and I can definitely say Manila is the killing field, if you notice in the news. So it's totally different. So this is what we have to put forward. Everybody thinks Mindanao, everybody's running with guns here. We don't have guns here. You don't even see it in Cagayan de Oro. Why will you see it anywhere? So with that, we wanted to bring forward products of Mindanao to the public, not just in Cagayan de Oro, but also in Manila. What is the DPWH program to ensure there's a consistent flow of goods of quality? Because don't forget, Manila standard is different from the standard here. So that's why when in our store, Local, we make sure you go through a rigid inspection. Not anything that you bring in will be good. So what programs, now that you know that the Maranaos are traders, how are you going to help them?
Yes, so basically the thrust of the department, not just the Department of Trade and Industry, but the whole subcommittee of business and livelihood, is to really open up marketplaces and events where the products of our IDP businessmen can be displayed. For one, in August, during the festival, the fiesta celebration of Cagayan de Oro, we, as a department, we usually hold a 2-week-long trade show for all the products of Northern Mindanao. Okay. We call it Kahimonan, which in this year was staged at SM Premier. And in that particular trade show, there was a booth there that featured the products of the IDPs of Marawi City. So
what are the products of Marawi that is marketable?
For now, they have sewn malong, and then they have also dresses. Then they have baurs. It has been a traditional product of the area, and brasswares. In fact, itong dalawa, the baur and the brassware, are now being displayed in a market outlet, which was opened in September in Makati.
Where is this going to be?
It's open already. It's in the ground floor of
your building,
the DTI office. Yeah. And because that particular area there actually houses a regular product showcase of the products from all over the country. This time, the head office is giving the whole area for the Bangon Marawi product. So it was opened in September 2024, I think, and it's still running until now. And the good products coming from not just Marawi, but from the other neighboring municipalities are being displayed there. So that's one of the events that we have sponsored. Another one was during the fiesta celebration in the D&D theme park here in Cagayan, in Iligan City. There were around 48. There were around 48 booths that were being occupied by the IDPs to sell their products.
Going back to the showcase, so these are the two important locations. If we can get an assistance from your end, work with the Department of Tourism to promote products of Mindanao, or let's say the Marawi Festival or the Maranao Festival. We showcase whatever is about Maranao. We show them the ruins. One of the things I've discussed with Secretary Martin Andanar, and of course our new secretary, Undersecretary of the PIA is also, or the Presidential communications team is that I want to produce a book about ruins of Marawi. Then I will dovetail the whole thing. It transitions to tourism. Because what I would want to see, and I've discussed this openly, preserve a portion of Marawi. We want to show the world, this is Marawi. And then we do a hotel package to sell Marawi. They stay in Cagayan, then we ferry them to Marawi, and let them walk through what happened. Be part of it. Maybe this can help alleviate the people who have pains inside, that, hey, there is always tomorrow, and things will be better. Maybe these are the few projects. And I know your DTI has a PowerPoint presentation on this. Can we look at it?
Yeah. So these are some of the updates that were happening as far as, but these are not DTI only. This is the whole subcommittee. So we have here projects on marketing events and places, the ones I've said early on the product showcase in Makati. But I think that idea of really going to the mall is very laudable. In fact, we were informed that Secretary Mon Lopez has initial talks with the Robinsons for also the same purpose. But I think the high-end market, as Sir Jerome is telling us, is really maybe in Glorieta. Maybe that could be one of the things that we can.
The reason I favor Glorieta, because you have a good cross section of people who walk in and out. And this is one, of course, it's going to be not just an exhibit of products. You really showcase the whole thing. You can even have a matching, so that maybe some people are willing to buy the products on wholesale. So we then help everybody that is displaced, that again, there's money somewhere. All you need is probably the right marketing tools, the marketing geniuses to come up with a project. It will work. Because I'm bringing Marawi to Manila. People who cannot come to Marawi will now see Marawi in a different angle. And maybe they will decide to come to Marawi and see for themselves. So it's an effect of a product, of a project that will bring revenue to everybody in Marawi. So one of the things that always is interesting is to keep everybody busy. Because once the minds of these displaced are not busy, we will have a problem. And maybe with DTI, you're very well connected, you can probably swing a deal in Glorieta. Then another deal would be especially Christmas is coming. There's a lot of people. People have money. They will always say, I have no money. But mind you, they shop. And maybe this is one thing we will show them. Because I live in Malaysia for 5 years. A lot of products are the same. We can even go beyond the waters of the Philippines, showcase who we are. Because everybody now has a notion, Mindanao is the wild, wild west, but now, here we are coming close to you, we bring our products and services. Maybe DTI can look into this.
Thank you, sir. So we know we're home to converge now. See, Sir Jerome being really an international marketing guy. So I think I'm taking note of all the inputs. I am an interviewee here, but I'm getting so much insights from Sir Jerome. So yes, sir. And these are just some of the things that we are doing, like marketing events, marketing spaces. And then there are some convergence programs in agriculture from the Department of Agriculture. There are some convergence programs with the OPAP. No? But these are still very raw, and these are for the more for the micro. But I would like to share with the group right now is that as far as business development is concerned, what the department is looking at right now is for financing side. Because essentially, when businesses would have to be back on their feet, I think their first requirement would always be financing. And in fact, in almost all of the fora and consultations that we conducted, the number one concern of the businessmen are always on financing. So right now, the DTI attached Small Business Corporation, two of their vice presidents are here in Iligan and Marawi to do reconnaissance financing, to really find out what kind of programs would really respond to the requirements of the displaced IDPs. Because we need to realize that our circumstance is entirely different from all the other circumstances in the Philippines. We have big, small, micro, and large businessmen who practically have nothing until now. I mean, up to now, since May 23 until now. So their requirements may be entirely different from the other typical businessmen in the country. So our senior management team of the SB Corporation is around to really talk to the businessmen, for small and the medium and the large ones, so that they would be able to formulate a financing package na swak talaga doon sa requirements ng mga businessmen.
Okay, now that you've seen your PowerPoint, other than financing, one of the most important thing, of course, is the product. How are you developing the product to an international standard? DTI has item, and this is one good avenue to sell. Selling locally is nice, but selling to the world is a lot better. It helps the country. We don't become very dependent on OFWs. If our exports are higher than our imports, we're in good shape. So what programs are you in DTI doing in terms of design, product design?
So product development is really a big challenge. It's really a big challenge, especially now that if you look at Marawi City, talagang wala na. Like the equipment are no longer there, the raw materials are no longer there. So practically, we have to start from not necessarily from zero, because the skills are there, maybe the passion is still there, and the technology is still there, except for the physical technology. So I think that's one of the challenges that will have to be faced. And secondly, as far as the soft side is concerned, what the secretary is doing right now is parang making the services of the Design Center Philippines, because that is really where the designing competency is large, and the designers that are now working in the DCPs are the ones that really know the trends in not just in the Philippine market, not just in the ASEAN or Asian market, but the trends of the world market, not just now, but in the next seasons to come. So I think the order of the secretary is to really make sure that the Design Center of the Philippines guys would come over and would help our micro, small, and medium enterprises in the designing side. As far as SITEM is concerned, they can be the venue for some trade exposition, and they are the ones that really have the connections as far as institutional buyers is concerned. So I think you're right there, Sir Jerome, that more or less in terms of the competencies in design, product design, development, and marketing, all of these things are large in the department. But to a large extent, we really need to converge with the local craftsmen, the local businessmen, together with the LGUs, because definitely DTI cannot do it alone.
Products really of Maranao. Okay, let's say the Maranaos, what are they really producing in terms of food? Is the food, can we bring it to Singapore, Malaysia, or to the halal community? Or our arts and crafts, what are they? How are we gonna market it? Again, you have clothing that you can really push and can be sold in other Muslim countries.
Yeah. Yeah. Marawi City or the Maranao as a people, as a culture, is really known for culture-based products. Because I think one of the most colorful cultures in not just maybe in Mindanao but in the country is really that of the Maranao. So for now, they are known for baur, the it's a traditional product made of wood where meron silang mga engraved na mga designs and pearls.
Inlaid pearl yon.
Inlaid, yes, yes, sir. Yung parang ganon. And then it has scaled up into furniture like coffee tables, sala sets that are Baor inspired. So that's one thing that they are really known for. And another one is on brassware, which has been there for quite a long time. So these are, as far as the crafts is concerned, these are the things that we can probably market to the rest of the world. As far as food is concerned, what I can see now, as far as the trend is concerned, is the local Maranao appetizer, which is palapa.
Yep.
So it's now being bottled, and that used to be just a home delicacy, but now a number of entrepreneurs have already transformed it into bottled, into well packed.
Yes.
So I think that's one thing that we can promote.
That can compare to our sambal sauce in Singapore, in Malaysia. That's the reason why I'm trying to gear you to that direction. In Malaysia, we have what you call the sambal sauce, which in every dish we eat, we have to put sambal. You cannot eat chicken curry without it. You cannot eat noodles without it. Maybe this is an entry. One of the companies that has a lot of supermarket is Jardine. It's the same owner as Mandarin Oriental. They have a chain store. Cold storage is one of them. That's going to be in Singapore. And then they have the Giant also in Singapore. They have partnered with Gustan in Manila already. So this is a good avenue to sell our products. I think we cater to the Muslim market is faster than just catering to the mass market. We're going to go very specific in this country, Brunei, Malaysia, Indonesia first as a starting point. And you can introduce this because these now can compete with the sambal sauce of Jakarta even, or Indonesia. And I really look that I will give the names who to call on.
Thank you very much.
This is one area, maybe because I live in Singapore and Malaysia and even in Jakarta before, I know who are the people to be approached just to sample it, and hopefully we can have a share. One of the things I also want to see, because I live in Singapore, is that I want to see a section of all Filipino, not just in the Filipino store, but actually in the mainstream. When I say mainstream, the supermarkets. Once it goes into the Filipino store, it doesn't get into the supermarket. The supermarket owners don't like it. You have to first put it in the supermarket, then let the Filipino store buy it. One of the things I pushed in Singapore is Oishi crackers. I was with them in Shanghai when they were starting, and when I got to Singapore, they were with a distributor who was useless to me. He was distributing it only to the Filipino store. I told him, no, take it out from the system, bring it to cold storage, then we can do more promotion, Oishi. We are doing one project, I did with the National Union, which is tuna. It's branded under their brand, but it's manufactured by Century Tuna. We would like to see more of our brands being placed in the shelves in the supermarkets of the major cities in Southeast Asia, for at least for start. And if you want to go down to, you want to go further, you have the seafood city in the US. These are the things we would love to see because there's still a lot of Muslim. Next year, Cagayan de Oro will have it's called the Balikbayan program of the Cagayan de Oro people. They will be coming back. And Limket Kailax Hotel has extended special rates, provided you're with a green card. You have to show your green card. You get a special rate of 50% to come to Cagayan de Oro. And this is another avenue we can go further and to promote. I have spoken to the spouses of the congressman, and I'm asking them if the wives or whoever is the spouses to help. I'm selling bowls and brasswares, because the brassware supplier that we were supposed to do in Cagayan de Oro is having a tough time. So I told him, I will help you sell your brasswares. Nothing in return. All I need you is to get you your life to move on. So we're organizing the congressional wives and spouses to come to Cagayan de Oro, and I've pushed to go to Marawi as well. So they have a first-hand. You know, the wives can easily talk to the husbands. That's why I don't talk to the husbands. I talk to the wives. I want to sell an idea. I tell the wives, can you come up with this project? So there is such thing as pillow talk. And I assure you, project is done. Done deal. Anyway, other projects, but how about in your side, now that you have been appointed, what do you see? How do you see it transforming back? And what is your time frame?
As of now, there are groups conducting the post-conflict needs assessment. There is also a group that is crafting a Marawi rehab plan. The idea is to build Marawi, a better Marawi, but at the same time preserving the cultural heritage that is very unique in Marawi. So we have committees that are dedicated specifically for this. At present, the focus is on the possibility of the IDPs returning to their houses, their homes. We have actually 63 barangays that has not really been affected by the war. Only 33 were really affected or totally destroyed. This is in ground zero. So the first priority is on 9 barangays. So there are plans on allowing the IDPs to return in these 9 barangays, so that so that they once and for all they could live back to normal lives. Of course, with what happened, it will be a different life for them. And the government agencies with Task Force Bangon Marawi trying its very best to alleviate whatever suffering that they have once they go back. Of course, the SWD is having a very big part in this.
Any would like to open the floor now for questions from the media, the bloggers? Do we have?
May we call on Ms. Donde Macarambon from Radio Pilipinas, Iligan, please.
My question is, there are 9 barangays that are now to be opened for IDP returnees, and I think today they had this morning the caravan activity to welcome them. Yes, then I've heard that DTI is going to play a very big role here because we don't have stores there yet. So we've heard that DTI is going to put up some stall, maybe, or they call it rolling store rather. And so I just would like to know on how are you going to operate it there, sir? I think the DTI Provincial Office of Lalo del Norte has a big role there. So can you give us an idea on how are you going to operate it, them there? And the prices, we're curious if they're affordable, of course, not to the IDP. So just give us some ideas on how are you going to do or go about it, sir. Thank you.
Actually, I had a day with ASEC Castro early on, and we were talking about how can we probably converge with the LGUs so that we can we would be more or less be able to exactly plan in detail how we're going to do it. But at any rate, the way we are doing the rolling store, so to speak, but the objective there is to really just make sure that supply and prices of basic and prime commodities are stable. And we know that price is going to be stable if supply is sufficient. So we just make sure we look at the supply chain and we make sure that there is a distributor of a particular commodity who is willing to locate in the area, and that there is a place for him in that particular area where he can display or sell his products, and that the products or the logistics are allowed to fly between the distributor's area to the place where the selling is supposed to take place. So that's how we do our price stabilization effort. We just make sure that there's a place where our distributors can sell. At this time where the 9 barangays are easily accessible, we do not see any problem as far as availability of supplies of basic and prime commodity is concerned. Primarily because kung may market, if there are people there, we need to say may bibili, then essentially yung business community will really go there. Diba? Because sabi nga natin, 5 kilometers away, the businessman would be able to smell to perceive the color of money. So parang ganun lang, we just make sure we just facilitate that there is a free flow of the movement of basic and prime commodities to that area, so that supplies will be normal, ergo prices will also be normal.
Just one follow-up question, sir. Undeniably, situations like this, there are unscrupulous traders na sumasakay sa panahon. So how do we see to it that we do not allow this kind of activity po na magbibigay ng o lalong magpapahirap sa ating mga IDPs. So sana po ma-monitor kasi baka may magdoble pa rin yung presyo, and knowing there po meron talagang mga unscrupulous na traders na sasakay sa panahon. Please, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
That is really a very valid concern. In fact, that's one thing that the top management of the department in the head office is now looking at. Primarily because the projection is that once the rehabilitation phase would come in, then there would be an upsurge of demand for construction materials. And then, theoretically, if demand goes up and then supply is just static, then it would have an upward pressure on the selling price. So, however, with that, with the price act po natin, we make sure that through our monitoring, if we see any undue, the key term is undue, if the department sees any undue reason or undue increases of prices of basic and prime commodities, at any point in time, the department can recommend to the President for the imposition of a price ceiling or a price control. We now call that as mandated price control. If we recall, in May 23, when martial law was enacted, immediately after that, pursuant to the provisions of Price Act, there was an automatic price control on an APC. Automatic po yun pag may mga emergency cases. In the next 60 days, from May 23 and 60 days po, there was a price ceiling that was automatically imposed. Ngayon po, what will happen is hindi naman tayo emergency situation. If there would be undue increases of prices based on our monitoring, there are 2 things that we can do. One is to impose penalty to these unscrupulous businessmen. There are 3 possible violations. Pwede silang profiteering. Yung profiteering po would happen if an enterprise or a business entity is selling a commodity at a price grossly in excess of its true worth. So for example, if the true worth of a particular commodity is 100 and it is being sold at 180, so siyempre po si DTI would ask the businessman, can you give us some computations bakit yung presyo mo maabot ng 180? That businessman will have to show some proof or some evidences of his computation. If the department sees that hindi masubstantiate yung price niya based on his computation, then that particular entity can be charged with a violation of profiteering. Then pwede na po siyang magpe-penalize na po tayo doon. So there are may other violations pa. Kunyari, there could be a cartel. Pwede pong magkakaroon ng cartel, or baka po pwede pong magkaroon ng hoarding. Kunyari, may isang businessman na magwi-withhold ng supply niya just to have an artificial shortage of supply, thereby giving an upward pressure on the selling price. So yung tatlong illegal acts of price violation po ang tawag natin doon. If the department sees that these things are being done by our unscrupulous businessmen, then we can do an imposition of penalty. Tapos kung talagang mag-persist yun, the department can or may recommend for the imposition of a price ceiling for the president to issue such mandate.
Bento Caravan, like DTI always has this, because we at Limited Kai we participate under the Marca Leon brand, wherein we're selling cooking oil at even a lower price than the supermarket. Will you be doing this in Marawi, or how are you having this kind of program? Permanent.
Actually, the Descuento Caravan, we have done that during the early stages of the crisis, just to stabilize the prices of basic and prime commodities in the nearby municipalities of Lanao del Sur. We call it then rolling store, but in the jargon of the national government, we call it the Descuento Caravan. So nagawa na po natin yan, sir. And we are planning to, I think that's one of the plans of our DTI ARMM, to DTI Lanao Sur, to make sure that the prices of, mag-stabilize sila. But yung permanent in nature, that's something that we need to study, kasi baka ma-distort yung regular business operations. Because if there are entrepreneurs who can provide the products at a reasonable prices, then we let the business sector do it. Pag medyo talagang hindi kakayanin ng business sector, private sector to do it, there's a time that the government can facilitate.
Well, my permanent, quote and unquote, it's just only during the rehab period. After the rehab, they have already moved on. Then you dismantle your Descuento Caravan and let the private sector make more money.
That's something we can study. That's something we can study.
Do we have any more media people?
Makaintindi ka ba ng Bisaya service na dito?
Yes.
Pag yung
Ako region 10, so it's okay.
Kato yung mga ngayon ng psychosocial intervention, tanan nga mga evacuation center na tagaan sa psychosocial?
Yes, sir. Ang ato ang gitagaan og tahasan na og ang nangaytag tabang ana sa ato ang mga kauban sa DOH. So tanan we are monitoring 34 evacuation centers, 5 in Iligan City, 11 in Balui, 1 in Pantar, and 17 in Pantauragat. So tanan na siya ginatagaan nato og psychosocial interventions. Of course, hindi lang ang DOH actually ang nagbibigay. It's not only DOH providing psychosocial activities, also other humanitarian organizations like CFSI has been very active in providing psychosocial activities sa ating mga camps po.
So sa ato pa wala na lakip ang piyaga po, ma'am, wala siya.
Lanao I am speaking on behalf of Region 10. So
okay.
hindi po parte ng aming area. Yeah, perhaps ang DSWP it should be it has to have also there sa kahit sa like sa Gyaran, in particular ginagawa rin yan ng ating mga kasama sa Region 12 of course with the support din ng DOH 12. So, yun po.
Okay, kay nakabisita magami dito sa Piaga po. May naghatag to dito kuan nga ng social intervention na psychosocial eh. Kato imong gigon ganyan naman nga pabaon system. Ano sa mo siya ongoing nga ihatag sa mga family sa mga evacuation center?
Okay, ingani na siya. Ang pabaon, okay. Ang pabaon ihatag nato sa atong mga IDPs nga set to return sa Marawi. So, ibibigay ang ating ang financial assistance. Ang pabaon, this is composed of yung family food packs, yung hygiene kits, kitchen kits, and sleeping kits para po ito magamit ng ating mga IDPs na babalik sa kanilang mga bahay doon sa Marawi City. Kasi po ang unang na-identify na mga barangays, yung 9 barangays na identified cleared and safe, declared cleared and safe by our kasamahan natin sa AFP and PNP. Kasi sila po talaga yung nag-identify ng ano yung mga barangays na pwede nang bumalik ang ating mga IDPs. And then, ang mangyayari po, ang ating mga LGU Marawi, sila po yung nag-identify listing ng ating mga IDPs nga muuli. After that, ma-identify po nila yung mga list based sa kanilang constituents doon sa Marawi City. We will match it with the existing database po ng DSWD, and then from then ipiprepare po ng DSWD yung lahat ng assistance, financial and food and non-food assistance doon na sa Marawi City. So magkakaroon po ng pagbibigay ng mga assistance upon return sa Marawi. So doon na po namin ibibigay sa Marawi City mismo. Hindi po, like example po, kung dito sila sa Iligan City, hindi po dito sa Iligan ibibigay. Kung kasali po sila doon sa set to return in Marawi, when they are, upon their return doon sa Marawi, doon na magkakaroon ng releases nitong mga assistance na ibibigay ng DSWD.
Wala pa natagaan mo?
Wala pa man naka-return, sir. So, ang ato ang kuan ginahulat, ang DSWD mo sabay sa kung unsay schedule sa pag-return dito sa Marawi. So, ang basic initially with the permission ni Sir ni ASEC, doon sa ang nakaset na magre-return is on October 29. I think isang barangay yun ang nakaset na uuwi. Basak Malatlat. Ang identified ng ating barangay Basak Malatlat is set to return on October 29 with identified 712 families. So ang mangyayari po pag nakabalik po itong 712 families doon sa Marawi City, sa Basak Malatlat in particular, nandoon din po ang DSWD to provide the necessary assistance.
Okay, salamat. Sa DTI day.
Sir, kanong imong gigon sir mga pili sa ikon sa international. Kung saan na siya nga mga products, sa nato pa inyong gasgatan ganina, dili kay na ko man sa na siya. Brassware, palapa ba ito nga na
Processed food na siyang palapa. Mura siya og kanang local appetizer sa mga Maranao. Gitawag nagsibujin, no? Ilan nang ga-i-process, dugdukon nila. Sa una, kuan na gyud na siya. Naragi sa ilang mga balay-balay, karon naman tayo mga mga tao nga na entrepreneurial spirit, ilahang gi-battle, ilahang gi-patsada na lugar ang packaging. So makita na gyud nato diha sa mga grocery stores. So na siya'y katugingon na ni Sir Jerome, na siya'y chance, no? Na siya'y fighting chance nga makapenetrate sa international market.
Katong brassware, ano ito sa brassware?
Ang brassware, kung ano gina siya, kanang brass. Usa man ang brass sa Bisaya. Kana bitang bronze. Kana pang mga bronze nga kanang mga gong, kanang mga nana, i-carve bitaw na agipot na siya mga design, himo siya. Nasa lain-lain nga applications, but most of its application naagid siya sa mga decorative items. Pero makita po na to nga naay brassware nga furniture, naay mura og coffee table na kuan kay siya, no, pang katong giingon ni Sir yung nga pang high-end gyud siya nga market kay patsada man gyud siya unya medyo mahal-mahal gyud pud siya gamay pero patsada gyud siya tan-awon. So those are the products nga pwede gyud siguro nato mapa-appeal sa supply chain sa international market.
Okay, salamat.
What other food products does Marawi have, or the Maranao traders are selling, that has not gone down yet to the other cities in Mindanao or in Visayas or even in Manila?
They have this, sige, nang ilahan. Kaya mo nagsuman gani, how do you call it? Dodol, yeah. They have dodol, but dodol is common in all ASEAN neighbors. Like they have, Malaysia also has it, Indonesia has it. But I think
unique
ours
to Maranao.
Ours tastes better.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something we can capitalize on. Parang mas masarap talaga yung sa atin compared to the others. And that's something na hindi pa siya naka...
So DTI is giving a sample. I haven't tasted it, so...
yeah, yes, we will
you.
send you. We will send you because we are assisting a group now that is, we would like them to upscale because as it is today, yung product na yan, dyan lang sa, nakahang lang siya sa mga regular stores. But, so we would like to upscale it to something that can be displayed in the grocery stores. Malaysia and Indonesia are already doing it. They have also some flavors there, but I can really, I don't know, but from my own perspective, ours really tastes better.
I look forward to receiving it from DTI.
Yes, we will.
No, but other than that, we had when I arrived here last year, we had the Ramadan special. It's basically, of course, you do fast in the daytime. At break of fast, we will have to serve you. It was a hit. So, of course, this next year we will do it again, but we are wanting to give more flavors, not just food from Malaysia and Singapore. We also want to make sure that the Maranao is represented now. The only thing we do not put, if you can cook it at home, you won't go to the hotel. So we're giving you food that you cannot cook at home, it will be there in the hotel. That's what we do for this. Other than that, any more questions?
I would like to ask, how is the coordination with, of the FBM with other, specifically with LGU and CSO, sir? Kasi may isa pong, in one of the meetings na nasama ko, yung CSO nag-recommend po sila na sana po the TFBM umupo din po sa kanilang mga meetings para po daw malaman din po nila ilang ibang pa mga problema na hindi pa daw yata nag-cover ng task force Bangon.
I think of the IDPs, we are trying to make it systematic. Because as of now, the plan is on the 9 barangays. That is an initial plan. We are planning on the other barangays on how we could do it efficiently. And the greater part of that is, of course, the communications plan. So that maintindihan ng lahat. Maraming with the advent of communications, maraming kung anong lumalabas na
fake news.
Fake news. Some of them not really fake, but misguided or misinformed. And some people tend to pass it to other people. And we will address that. We have a committee. Next week, we will have more, I think, from PIA. They will be sending some people here to address the issues on communications.
Ng ID, kailangan, ano po daw klaseng ID ang ipipresent na considered na valid? Parang ganun.
IDs,
para, kasi kailangan, they are doing, the barangay officials din kasi ngayon are conducting profiling, no?
Yeah.
Sa mga IDPs. Tapos yung mga babayaran daw, yung parang may mga lumabas na ganun din daw na yung certification na from barangay officials, babayaran pa ba daw sila, yung parang ganun na issue, sir.
We are to ensure that we return the right person to the right house. So there are requirements like ID. As long as it's a valid ID, I do not see any problem. Ang bottom line kasi, kailangan natin ma-ensure na tama yung tao na binabalik natin. Plus, siyempre, baka may mga stragglers dyan na masasamang tao, we want to prevent.
But I guess now the government officials of today are pretty much aware of how to handle this faster and more efficient. Any more questions?
Yes, we also have from Ms. Weng Fernandez of UNTV.
Kay Ma'am Jam sa DSWD. Ma'am, meron kasi, nag-ikot kami sa mga evacuation, meron kami nakikita mga batang may trauma pa rin hanggang ngayon. Nagtatagod siya sa sulok, na kumot, hindi makausap. Ano po ang programa ng DSWD para matulungan yung mga magulang nila kung ano ang dapat gawin para makarecover yung mga anak nila?
Okay po. Ang ating regarding po sa trauma healing and all other psychosocial service, yan po ay ating nagpapatulong tayo sa ating partners sa DOH kasi sila po ang mas eksperto sa mga bagay na yan. As to the mothers naman, meron namang pong mga meron tayong tinatawag na WFS na pinapatupad sa ating mga camps. It is being done by our friends from CFSI and the UNFPA. So sila mismo nagkakandak ng ang ating mga mothers, ang TENRAIN, na sila mismo yung nagkakandak ng mga activities. So sila na mismo ang tinitrain to be facilitators, to be sa kanilang community. So ang proseso po nun is, ang goal nun is kahit umalis ang ating mga ang gobyerno o ang sinumang humanitarian organizations, empowered na yung ating mga mothers, yung ating mga women na kaya na nila at in their own way kaya nilang i-manage yung mga situations within the family or the communities.
Nag-start na po yan, ma'am?
Yes, ongoing po yan. Lahat ng po ng mga camps meron po. Meron.
Okay, thank you po. Kay ASIC po sa task force. Sir, is it possible na malagyan ng mga daycare center ang mga evacuation or temporary shelter? Kasi isa po yan sa hinihingi ni Vice Governor kahapon, adjunct sa gobyerno, na malagyan ng daycare center ang mga temporary shelter or evacuation sa Marawi dahil namumroblema sila kahapon ay nung isang araw nung umalis ang mga PNP staff dahil nag-iyakan yung mga bata. Kasama po ba yun sa programa niyo, sir? Particular sa Gunsungan?
Sa Gunsungan Village, that is where the transitional shelters will be built. We will be building there initially 1,100 units. Kasama yung mga tinatawag na common facilities. Yung market, may mosque, may daycare center. In fact, recently may eskwelahan daw na itatayo. And these are on the planning stage. Kasama yan. There will be funds allocated for that. We have a committee on housing of which I am a member. Kami ang nag-uusap niyan. We meet weekly. We meet on site sa Gunsungan. We were there yesterday. So kasama yon. In other evacuation centers, we will have to look into that. I am not in a position to answer that, but kakausapin ko yung DOH para may i-bring out namin yan. Kasi yung pag-return sa Marawi, it's on a phasing. Hindi naman lahat yan sabay-sabay. Definitely, meron yung mahuhuli, meron yung mauuna. So, titingnan natin kung ano yung magagawa dyan. We will have to relate that to DOH.
Okay po. Isa pa, sir. Meron na po ba kayong bilang ng number of families na makalipat sa Gunsungan? Kasi last week, nabanggit po ni Yusek Yano na before the year end, may malilipat na po doon na first batch.
Yes. Yung ginagawa ngayon, by December, we are targeting around 500 to 600 units. And definitely, so by December, may maililipat na doon na families equivalent to 500 to 600. The local government units has formed a committee to determine sino yung priority doon sa transitionary shelters. May mga tao na unang-una wala nang matitirhan. Yung mga tao na talagang wala nang natitirhan naman, wala nang babalikan, they are a priority. We also have permanent housing. Aside from this temporary, may lugar kami na permanent housing naman in a 37-hectare area, and we are also in the planning stage for that. Our next meeting will be dealing mainly on the permanent housing.
Saan po yan, sir?
May area na binanggit, hindi pa ako at liberty to mention the area kasi planning stage pa lang kami, initial stage. We plan to schedule an on-site visit kasi hindi namin mabisita noon dahil may gera. Marami daw stray bullets doon, so now wala nang gera, malakas na yung loob namin pumunta doon. But there is an area there for permanent housing.
Sir, yung sa Sagunsungan ba, isang unit, isang family?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
It's a 22 hectare, 22 square meter. Nakita kanina, no? And mabilis yung tayo. We were there yesterday. Unfortunately, it always rains in the afternoon, so yun ang problema. But the contractors have promised to deliver 500 to 600 by middle of this year. Mabilis.
By December, this is 2 months from now.
Yeah.
We will.
Yes.
They have assured you that it will be done.
Yes, we meet weekly in Sagunsongan. Kaya kung may problema doon, like yesterday, we were there, may konting problema. Yung isang contractor, he was requesting that we put sand and gravel doon sa ginagawang kalsada for them to be able to fast-track the hauling of the materials because the laborers used to carry the sand and gravel manually. So they requested that a part of that road be strengthened with gravel, and ginawa namin yon, so mas mabilis. And the reason why we meet there is to see kung ano talaga ang magiging problema. And right then and there, na susolusyonan namin. So December, hindi pa exacting figure, but 500 to 600. Depending on the rain, alam niyo naman sa Marawi, it rains almost every day.
What's the number of, there are a lot of NGOs participating here in this project. Well, how many of which are really active, or is it just accreditation and nothing moves?
That is one of the plan that we have. I'd like to talk to them, and we'll try to make up an accreditation process so that we will really know who are really working. Maybe next week or the following week, titingnan natin kung sino ba talaga, kasi maraming lumalapit and maraming dumediretso sa Marawi. Maraming dumediretso. We'd like to prevent that because there could be duplication of work, there could be some problems later on. But we would like to tap the expertise of legal NGOs and CSOs.
Is there any more questions? Wow, I guess we have discussed so many points today that I believe have clarified many of the concerns of the public through our media and the bloggers, and we also gained much information about the things the government is doing to build back Marawi. Let's remember that whatever happens in Marawi is a reflection of us in Mindanao. It also affects not just the Maranaos, but also the entire Mindanao and the rest of the country. We must be hand in hand, not just the government sector, but including the private sector in rehabilitation programs at Marawi. That I'd like to thank everybody for coming, and I wish to work with you more, guys, in the next months to come, and hopefully we can broadcast right in Marawi, particularly the the provincial grounds. Thank you very much. Thank you, of course, to Parasat Cable TV. On behalf of our regional director, Frank Gumapon, this is Jerome De La Fuente. Until the next episode, thank you for watching. Have a nice day.
The ASEAN enforces a rules-based community that ensures our people enjoy human rights and freedom. A community that adopts a comprehensive approach to security and resolves differences and disputes through peaceful means. The region recognizes and respects shared values, norms, and the fundamental principles which will make ASEAN more united and cohesive. The community aims to strengthen its engagement with other external parties, as well as respond to global developments and the ever-changing demands of the international arena. The ASEAN, as powered by its member states, seeks to build and create a more conducive environment towards a progressive world.